What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're out here again. It's a beautiful day. Going to be like a high of 58, 60. So super sunny, blue skies, no wind. Almost a perfect day. I'm hoping for a good dry fly action today. We're going to start out nymphing, but probably switch over to dry flies once this weather warms up a little bit more. So pretty excited to get out here and see what we can do. So it's pretty busy out here today. It's a beautiful day, so kind of expected that. Last time I was out here, I got pretty burnt. My face was super red and purple, so put on some sunscreen today. A buff. If you don't have one that's UV protective, recommend it. It was pretty rough for a couple days being burnt. I don't recommend that again. So I didn't realize it. The snow, the water reflection just tore me up. Didn't realize it when I got home, and I was super burnt. So I'm sure I'd shed some layers, but for now, this will work. I swear you have to get out here at sunrise or camp in this parking lot, because there's already at least 10 cars in this parking lot, and I just got here at 9 o'clock. So if you don't have a rod holder, which I don't really believe in just because it attracts a lot of attention to break into, there's been a lot of people around here that have their rod vaults broken into. So I use these trestle design rod stocks. Just break it down in half and can accommodate up to a 10-foot rod. But they're super nice. The hooks don't really get caught into them, but that's kind of what I do to keep everything nice and organized in the back of the truck. So we're starting out with the 5-weight with a leech on it. I'm probably going to put a small midge, maybe a red midge. I've never tried that out here before. So a small red midge at the bottom. So there was a ton of snow last time I was out here, and that's part of the reason I got so burnt. Probably 8 inches or so. Now it's just full of mud. It's all melted, so it's still gonna be a tough walk. I should clock it. I think it's like a mile walk down to the stream, but it's not so bad. It usually produces well, so it's worth it. I didn't have much good footage of the last time I was out here, but I found a new spot. Pretty deep pool. Got them on some perdigons. Hopefully I can get that spot again. Like I said, there's 12 cars out here, so I'm hoping no one's in this spot. If so, we'll move on down the river and see what we can find. So unfortunately, there's tons of people out here. Looks like people were in the spot that I wanted. That's okay. So we're going to move up a little bit and show you what we're working with. Tiny little perdigon. A purple-headed leech. Hitting bottom just a little too much. So let's move it up. So we're starting to get a small midge hatch. It's super sunny out, super nice. There's a couple small fish. You can see I just missed one right there talking to the camera. We just have that high-vis Griffith's net on there, focusing on these fish that are rising right in front of us. There's the tip of my rod here. I can see a few of them. They're not terribly big, but you know, a catch is a catch. Kind of in between stages here if I want to nymph or use the dry fly. The water is pretty perfect right now. It's a little lower than what I want. I'd rather it be deeper, but I'm not going to complain. You can see the gnat right there at the end of my rod. There's a bunch of bugs flying around it too, so that's a good sign. So it's about a perfect day to throw this little 22 dry fly. There's 0 wind. I've got a 5 weight, so I can't really punch a heavy or a light dry fly rather out here because it's so windy all the time, but it's almost perfect today. The fish are definitely biting. We've got some guys down there that are euro nymphing. That's not my game. Does it catch fish? Yeah, catches a lot. It's kind of a nerdy thing though. People that euro nymph are all about euro nymphing. Maybe I'll get into it one day. Maybe I'll go to the dark side, but for now, dry flies and streamers. You can see a fish just jumped right there. I don't want to give up on this quite yet. Spot's pretty prime with this faster water moving right here, creating that foam line. So I'm hoping that's going to produce something on top. I'm getting a perfectly dead drift right in the middle of that. Now, typically I wouldn't fish this faster water, but a lot of bugs have been crowding that area. So we're just going to continue. And what I would love to see is a bunch of risers in that really flat stuff. That's where we can get some good action, but hasn't happened yet. I'm sure it will today, but not quite yet. So we've changed tactics a little bit. I just added a really size 24 red zebra midge to the bottom of this. Put some more floating, some dry shake on this guy, so I can see him. You probably can't, but that way we can do a little dry dropper action, hopefully get someone on the top, maybe get something on the bottom, just increase our chances of landing a fish here. And I've got that like 14 inches or so below the surface. Could be a little longer, honestly, just because this water's moving a little fast, but that's a tungsten bead nymph, so it should sink pretty fast. I'm actually surprised that this gnat is holding it up, so we won't have to use a bobber or indicator if you're fancy. The Euro guys are killing them down there, but that's fine. We don't Euro nymph yet. I could be completely wrong, but if this nymph was a little too heavy for this dry fly, I feel like it would work well subsurface, just pulling down a little bit to kind of create that emerger kind of look. I could be totally wrong. Definitely not a professional. Now, the only bad thing about having such a small fly on it that you can't see is some of these fish take super subtle takes, especially if you fish down in deckers. Oh, almost hooked myself. way too much line out there. If you fish down deckers, they like to just kind of nibble on it and spit it right back out. So there's a high chance you won't even feel it. And this is fishing. No YouTuber shows you that you're tangled up in the bushes half the time. They're not doing you justice. So if you can see that, that's what we have on there. And that guy, if you can see it, it's covered in stuff. So that's not helping our case. Don't have 40 feet of line out and that won't happen to you. Sometimes I think I'm a distance caster. Like, line management, it's key. I'd be screwed if I land a fish with all that line out. So a good approach to some spooky fish in this area is to cast upstream of them. Most of the fish are going to face upstream because it's like a conveyor belt of food going right into their mouth. So they could, but they can't really see you if you're behind them. So being very subtle, watching for your shadows, matching kind of the background. So maybe lighter colors, blue, green, staying a little bit of camouflaged. I know this isn't hunting, but you're trying to sneak up on these guys. So I know there's fish right in this area, and I'm just going to try to work this area before we go somewhere else. Now I know we can catch fish over there, but there's a bunch of people in those spots. Obviously they know about them. Pat Dorsey writes a good book on this river, which if you know who he is, you know exactly what river this is. And he kind of points out all of the famous holes, which this is one of them. I think this is actually a guide hole, which I'm not totally a fan of, but this is what we got to work with, because like I said, there's tons of people here, and this is only one parking lot. There's a ton more parking lots, which 3 people were behind me that parked in the upper lot, so very busy. We'll take what we can get today. Alright, so we've switched tactics again. Usually I don't switch flies so much, but since we didn't see hardly anything rising off that dry fly, we just switched to an indicator bobber setup. So I have a leech and a that red zebra midge, and we'll see what we can produce with that. So I don't see a lot of fish in this area right here, but I want to strategically kind of work my way out towards that higher bank. That looks very fishy right there, that seam. The biggest thing, that was bottom. The biggest thing with fly fishing is just finding where they're at, as in reading the water. Let's not hook a goose over there. So you want to find seams, riffles, deep pools, find out where the fish are laying. Now in this certain area, I'm kind of focusing in the faster stuff, which I normally wouldn't do, but I want to work strategically each little spot until I get over there. Now, I don't particularly like these fast runs because they do create a lot of issues with mending. I don't want to sit here and mend the whole time and disturb that dead drift, but you can see I still have a good dead drift in that bobber right there. The line is in front of it, but I'm not terribly concerned with that. And since I have this whole area to myself, I'm just going to walk with it and let her ride. Got a bunch of gunk stuck up on the tippet ring here. Let me know your thoughts on tippet rings. Love them, hate them. I've learned to love them. It gives me an idea how much tippet I'm actually using off of my leader. This is a 4X leader, but I've had it all year, actually since October. I usually use a 5X, but I was throwing some bigger streamers the other day. Not huge, but bigger than what a 5 weight wants to handle, and 4X was doing pretty well. And by that I mean like a size 12, size 8. So it seems like the fish are starting to wake up a little bit. A couple risers right in front of me. I was just reeling in and had a lot of tension on the line, so I think I wasn't paying attention and there was actually a fish on there. Had to have been super small though, because it came off pretty easily, or it was just the bottom. Could have gone to another pretty popular spot 20 minutes down the road. Apparently there's been some amazing dry fly action there. Fun stuff, but this place is already slammed. I know that place is just going to be absolutely terrible. Giant one right there. So we're going to focus on that spot. That's the third hit I've seen in that area. Super delicate presentations. So I still have the 4X leader on with 5X tippet. It might not be light enough. Like I've said in my past videos, these fish are super smart. But we're going to see what we can do. There's a guy ahead of me way up there. That's the spot I want. Like I said, I don't like nymphing. It's boring, but man, I've landed some huge fish in that hole. It's so much fun. So not my typical style here, but I keep seeing a bunch of fish come from that edge, striking in the middle. So I threw on a nymph rig and we'll see if we can catch one. Pretty big ones, but like I've said multiple times, these fish are super smart. So I don't know if we'll be able to get one or not. We're trying to work that seam over there. I keep seeing them flash. They like shoot to the middle, shoot back out. So we're gonna be pretty still as much as we can and see if we can work this area. There's gotta be something in here. I might have to go a little deeper. So we're having little to no luck today. That's all right. It's called fishing, not catching. There's just a lot of people here, so a lot of the spots are kind of filled up. But what we're going to do is work with some more of these deeper pools, track back to the beginning, see if we can find anything that's opened up. But if not, we're having fun anyway, so stay tuned. So we've made it back to the hole that I wanted in the beginning. Some guys are on each side of us, so we're just going to focus on this hole. I know it's a good deep hole. There's actually a fish right here that I'm going to try to sight nymph. It's probably the ones that don't eat, that just sit there and watch your bait and laugh at you, but we're going to see what we can do. So this one's on track to go right above him. We'll see if he eats it. Nothing. He's not eating, so we're not going to mess with him. If he decides to eat and come after something, that'll be great, but it's not looking likely. Do have a few risers. It's not quite as much as I want to switch over to a dry fly quite yet, so we're going to keep doing this. And this is the spot I've caught the most out here. It's not named as one of the popular spots in any book or anything, so I don't think a lot of people come to it, which is good for me. It's excellent when there's a dry fly hatch, just insane. There's a little bit of a hatch going on now, but nothing too impressive, unfortunately. So per usual, not paying attention, just had a decent little cut bow. Take the bobber and just run with it. I actually thought it was a bug coming off the water. Didn't even realize there was a fish on. I was looking at these guys, talking to them, and lost them. So didn't set the hook, just kind of played around with it. He took it and unfortunately lost him, but that's okay. So a little rough day today. Didn't catch anything, but that's alright. We had fun. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. I think the high was 58 today. A little sweaty, tired. Just wasn't on today. Tried everything I had in my wallet, so that's alright. We will come back on a weather day where the fish are a little more active in my mind and go from there. If you watched one of the last videos, you know there was like, about slipped on that mud. There was like 8 inches of snow, close to a foot. Now it's all melted and it's just disgusting mud. I mean, my boots are just covered. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and we'll see you next time.